Yeah.
That's still not the right mic. There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, what a great start to the show.
Yeah.
This is not the side show.
Yeah.
This is not the side card.
Yeah.
This is the main event.
Yeah.
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 Ryan Baldwin here, deep in the heart of Denton, Texas, at the Green Studio. And over on the other side, my right-hand man sitting at my left-hand side, the Teflon talker, the Colossus of charisma, the one, the only Mason Shepherd.
Woo! Man, I tell you, I am more excited right now than I think I've ever been on a Monday because I got a lot going on in the studio, outside the studio. I'm having a good day. I'm having a better day than Adam Levine. So, whew.
Oh, man. So next week, you got to give me all of the, you got to give me all the list, and I'll read the entire list of stuff that you came up of names.
Oh,
for the pre-show.
I will.
I'll read the whole list.
I mean, like what? My nicknames?
Yeah,
just like
the nicknames. Yeah,
dude, I got my phone right here. It's on here.
But we're already through the intro, so
we're already
we'll
through the. Oh, I got.
We'll do it next week.
Got you.
Yeah. Oh, Monday, September 26th. Another weekend in the books of NCAA and NFL, which we're going to take a look at. And then we're going to go take a look at some of the top coaching rants of all time.
Yes.
Should be a fun show.
Oh, it's going to be a very fun show.
There's some great rants. All right, starting, of course, with college football. Nothing. Okay, so there were a couple. So let's knock that out first. Oklahoma going down to Kansas State. And Kansas State, of course, will be ranked. I'm assuming here once the rankings come out in this fine Monday, which it looks like they have, and we'll get to those in just a sec. But yeah, that was one of the shockers for me. It looked like Oklahoma was a surefire contender for one of the top 4 spots, and
I'm glad that they got proven that they're not.
Yeah, I know you are, but so now we got to, since you brought that up, now we got to talk about...
Oh, I know that my team definitely ain't going anywhere.
Number 22, Texas. Dropping to Texas Tech in Lubbock. Okay, so to y'all's credit, y'all have issues going into Lubbock.
Yes, we do.
Y'all just have issues going to Lubbock.
It started with Michael Crabtree. That's why I was half happy when Aqib Talib ripped his chain. I was like, you deserve that, what you caused my school in the horror of 2009.
And then just...
what it is with Texas, and ironically, I don't know why this is, it's the same thing with the Cowboys. When Texas has a lead, or when Texas has the chance to put their foot down, crush the larynx, it's over, no one's coming back. No, they're coming back, because they always come back, because we don't go for the kill, and that's the problem. And I think one of the biggest things that I didn't like about this game was the fact that, okay, I understand that we have Careless Card as a quarterback. I don't like that we have Careless Card as a quarterback. But here's the deal. What I would have done is, in the offseason, I would not have told Quinn Ewers out front, in front of everybody, that he's the starting quarterback. Because that drove away Casey Thompson, who was going to transfer away from Texas a couple years ago, but was given the opportunity to start. So what I would have done before he decided to go to Nebraska, ruin his chances of getting drafted, what I would have done was I would have just been like, I'm just, Casey, you're the man, right? It's a little bit of manipulation, but it worked. It would have worked out in our favor. Here's why. I would have been like, Casey, you know what? You're the man. And then when the game progresses and we get a little into the season, be like, put Ewers out there, see how he does. Guess what? He goes down in the Bama game. You have Casey Thompson as your backup plan, not Hudson Card. Unfortunately, we made the choice, and Thompson went to Nebraska, so we got stuck. And I do mean stuck. Hudson Card, if you hear this, which you won't, I do mean stuck with you. So,
do you think the additional recruiting over the summer of
Arch Manning
had something to do with it too?
No, because when Ewers, who was the number 1 prospect before Arch, when he decommitted from Ohio State and transferred to UT, which is where he wanted to go to in the first place, that was already kind of decided that this was what they were going to do. But that's where I think they went wrong, is because Casey wanted to at least start. And he was good. He led us to a bowl game victory. I mean, again, it was against Colorado, but he had a great showing. But I would much rather have him out there. He's got a better arm. He's accurate. He's a more confident runner. Card is just, watching Card is like, you know when you're playing a video game and then you're playing with a disc that scratches, but you love this game so much that you're going to keep playing it and you're going to pray that it just doesn't stall in the system. But undoubtedly, it stalls, and you have to take it out, wipe it off, put it back in. You get to play for another hour, then it stalls. That's Hudson Card. He is that Xbox or PlayStation disc that stalls and then kicks you out of the game, and you have to get back into it.
That's so oddly specific.
It happens so many times you get used to describing it. Anyway.
So I think I'm going to rain on your Texas parade here a little bit. This takes them out of the rankings, which I think
I'm not surprised.
I think that's rightfully so, because the only reason they were ranked to begin with was because they had a good showing against Bama.
Yeah. But
their wins were against UL Monroe and UTSA.
Yeah.
And then they played pretty well against Bama. So is Texas back? This would suggest absolutely not.
Texas hasn't been back since Colt McCoy left, so no.
But on the other hand, at least you didn't get whipped by Middle Tennessee, like number 25 Miami.
Look, I knew Miami. Look, I'm just going to put this out there. Nobody in the ACC should be ranked. None of them have proven anything.
Clemson.
Dude, Clemson and Wake Forest. Clemson, I don't care what anybody says. Clemson should not be number 5. What have they done to be number 5 in the country? Because of
granted this
legacy's sake?
Yeah, this year they've beaten Georgia Tech, Furman, Louisiana Tech, and now 21 Wake Forest. So
please tell me which of those names are proven commodities.
No, I agree. If it wasn't for the fact that they are historically good and they get that historical bias, then they wouldn't be number 5. They would not be number 5.
I mean, I'm not saying this to you. It shouldn't matter if they. You know what? Texas historically is a good team.
Not recently.
Again, that's why I said historically. So, come on. Seriously? Good God.
Back to Miami, though, because Middle Tennessee laid the smackdown. And did you see?
That's ironic with being The Rock is from Miami. That's ironic on so many levels.
Did you see the Middle Tennessee receiver, DJ England Chisholm? Did you see his stats on the game?
No, I did not, actually. Read those stats, Ryan.
2 receptions.
Yes, sir.
169 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Oh, wow. So his 2 receptions were touchdowns.
2 receptions were for touchdowns.
That's hilarious.
And he averaged 84.5 yards on those 2 catches.
Miami shouldn't be ranked.
Oh, yeah. Middle Tennessee, a Conference USA foe that we are familiar with here at North Texas, dropping Miami out of the rankings.
Good.
Other than that, everything else was pretty straightforward.
Did I not tell you? Now, you tell me if I'm right or wrong. Did I not tell you Florida-Tennessee would be a game? I told you that would be a good game.
It was a game. It was. I was surprised.
Here's the thing about the Tennessee Volunteers. In my opinion, that is the most underrated team in the SEC. Because, well, I know I said it was Ole Miss originally, but Tennessee and Ole Miss are the 2 most underrated teams. Because Tennessee, man, they've got talent on that team. And when they get a team together, they can beat anybody. It just depends who they get together.
Well, the other issue that they have, too, is, you're in the SEC, and more specifically, they're in the same side of the SEC as Bama, as LSU. And when you constantly have to... Or no, sorry, they're on the same side as Georgia. But they usually play these teams like the SEC just cannibalizes itself, right?
Yes.
Because you have Georgia and Bama who are pretty much always good. And then everybody else is capable of taking games off of each other. Like after this week right now, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 teams in the SEC that are ranked in the top 25.
Yeah. Here's the thing. This is how it should be structured. This is how the structure goes in the SEC. If you want to move up the rankings at least. Chop the legs off of Florida. You got to beat Florida first. You move on to LSU. Take out Georgia. Take out Bama. Because Bama will always be the kingpin just because of how successful they've been. But just if you can move up the ranks against those 4 teams, which is impossible.
Yeah, that's the problem. Is it's so hard to start with
because
those
you can
teams.
beat Florida and you can beat LSU, but you would have to beat all 4 of them in a season. Nobody's doing that.
Right.
Not even Georgia's done it. So I think because Georgia's at least dropped to at least one of them. So,
and then I think the highlight of the weekend, just in terms of single plays, was the. Did you watch the A&M Arkansas game?
No, because those 2 schools disgust me.
Did you at least see the play of the defender intercepting and then handing it off to another defensive player for the score, for the touchdown as he ran up here?
No, because I have to see that.
It's got net coming up, but it's just one of those, like, it's a Madden type play, where you're like, man, I can pitch this ball. Somebody's gonna go. I've got speed on the outside.
Right.
After a turnover, and he takes it all the way back for 6. It was at Jerry World because it's Arkansas and Jerry's Arkansas, and they always play this game at Jerry World. And
yeah, so it's gonna take them a while at Jerry World to get the stench out of it, because when you have Aggies and Razorbacks in your building at the same time, my God, is that whole building going to need a shower?
Okay, so here's the play, and I will do my best play-by-play here as it goes. So Arkansas is deep in A&M territory, right?
Okay.
There's the fumble, and he's picked it up, and now he's going to get wrapped up, and the defender's like, oh, crap. So he hands it off to another defender, and he goes up the sideline, and he is gone for 6 points. And whoop, yes. So grabs the fumble, gets wrapped up, and hands it off. And I don't know if the rest of the Arkansas offense just kind of fell asleep and thought the play was done.
They probably did. It's Arkansas.
There was nobody else around him to.
Can we just say, because we've covered uniforms on the show, can we just say, Arkansas, how dare you wear white? There is nothing pure about your team. Don't ever wear that again. Just, ugh. It's disgusting.
Boy, you are so violent against the teams you don't like.
Yes, I am. I cannot. I get it from my dad. He's this way against the Sooners, Notre Dame, USC, anybody that opposes Texas. But yeah, no. Look, in all seriousness, though, to talk about actual sports and not just fanfare, A&M Arkansas is always an interesting game. I have to give them credit because they both put together good programs. I can't argue that as much as I would like to. So when they get together, that is really to see. Okay, you remember how I always tell you that Ohio State and Michigan is like big brother, little brother. Well, this is like the cousins going out to see who will be the top cousin to eventually face the big brother, to eventually face the daddy of the SEC. These are 2 teams that have, I think Arkansas has beat Bama before, maybe once.
It's not very often.
It's not very often, but both of these teams, A&M has beaten Bama. That's the school that can say they've beaten Bama at least 5 times.
That was the Johnny Manziel era.
They have beaten Bama. I think they've even done it at least once under Jimbo. Just once.
Yeah, it was last year on the the kicker came in and it was who was it? Calzada, I believe.
Yeah.
The quarterback came in after King went down last year. Calzada came in and led them to a walk-off field goal win.
Yeah. So they can, they've beaten Bama a few times. So like I said, in all seriousness, that will always be an interesting game. So, I mean, kudos to A&M. I don't like them, as everybody knows. If you know me, they're one of the schools I vehemently dislike. But if anyone can beat Arkansas, then I'm happy about it. So we got that going for. But speaking of Georgia, can we talk about the game that they played or didn't play against Kent State?
Do we have to? It was against Kent State.
No, I know. But Ryan, 22-39 against the number 1 team in the country. That's a pretty big deal.
I guess, but you're Kent State, and at the end of the day, that doesn't mean anything for you or Georgia.
No, no one cares about Kent State. Most people don't even know where that is. We're not talking about them. We're just talking about Georgia playing that poorly, quote unquote, even though they still win.
You win by, what was it, 20 or 17 points?
Yeah, 17.
That's still a 3-score game.
Yeah, it's a 3-score game, but you expect Georgia, the number 1 team in the country, to beat them to a pulp at this point. I mean, I'm not saying it's the biggest game of the week.
Honestly, at this point, I don't, because at some point you're coming up on SEC play, and you go, okay, let's not throw the starters out there any longer than we have to. Let's get the game in hand, and we'll get the backups in. So,
what do you think about Washington being 15?
I don't hate it. They've got a good win. I mean, it's 15. So like we talked last week, right? I mean, nobody outside of Georgia, Bama, Ohio State, Michigan, Clemson, USC. I'm just waiting for one of those teams to lose, if at all. Because otherwise, this doesn't mean a thing, right? Until we expand the playoffs, which I'm still not thrilled about 12 teams for an expansion. I mean, unless one of those 4 teams, like theoretically, Ohio State and Michigan have to play each other. So one of them's going to lose. But Georgia could theoretically win out. Bama could theoretically win out. And then you're stuck with like Clemson or USC in there, and none of this matters about anything below 6. So, I mean, it's okay. Good for them. Like anything outside of the top 8, I'm not really worried about.
Well, just coming up on next week, this Thursday, Utah State's playing BYU. Nobody cares. Washington, UCLA, nobody cares. But Saturday, very interesting game. One of the first games of Saturday morning. Number 7, Kentucky. Number 14, Ole Miss. That is going to be a monster game because it's going to prove one way or the other. Does this team it's more of a proving ground for Kentucky.
Yeah.
Because if they can beat Ole Miss, then that says a little bit more about their credibility. If Ole Miss beats Kentucky, Ole Miss is beating Kentucky. They've done it before. They're going to do it again, maybe. But this game is going to be played in Ole Miss's house. So
if it's a proving ground game for Kentucky, if you can go into Ole Miss and win, then they're ranked 7. A win like that is enough to get you up to like 5 or 6.
Yeah, keep chugging along.
But again, you still have to go through Georgia or Bama eventually.
Well,
so,
we know we're not. Kentucky's maybe Kentucky. They ain't beating them. And then, another good one.
Well, the other thing too, real quick on that one, with the way that the CFP favors undefeated teams. Like, this is theoretically your season.
Yeah.
This is your season either way for these two teams, because the rest of these teams, like those top 4, there's a 5, 6, there's a very good chance that USC goes undefeated, that Clemson goes undefeated. Obviously, we talked about Michigan and Ohio State. One of them can't go undefeated. Yeah. So this is, if there's any shot for you, you have to win this game in terms of trying to get into the top 4.
Yeah. So, I mean, we'll see what happens with that. But I think you're right 100%. So we'll just see what takes place. Want to cover some games. These are not against ranked teams, these next 3, but they're going to be good games regardless because they're, obviously in conference. We've got Texas Tech, Kansas State. Kansas State's always an underlier, so Tech is going to have their work cut out for them. Michigan has to face Iowa. Iowa's
always a threat to take a game
That's
off.
what I'm saying. Iowa did like that. That's what I'm saying. Just because these teams are not ranked, these are teams that can easily take a win off of you.
And
then Oklahoma, TCU. Yep. TCU's been known to knock Oklahoma's record off. So those are 3 games to watch out for. The 11, 12 o'clock hour this Saturday looks pretty good. And then when we get into like Saturday, like around 1, that's when stuff really heats up because Oklahoma State, Baylor.
And Bama, Arkansas.
That is a big deal. This Saturday looks like it's going to be pretty good, right? I'm not going to lie to you.
And then don't forget the nightcap. You've got 5 Clemson and 10 NC State, and we get to see whether NC State are contenders or pretenders, and that'll pretty much.
To me, that's a proving game, even though structurally or legacy wise, it's not. To me, it's a proving game for both because. I'm sorry. Again, Clemson is not number 5 worthy to me, but we will see. A&M has to play Mississippi State. Mississippi State is another one of those teams that's known to take at least 1 win.
Nope.
Penn State, Northwestern. Northwestern's a team that can take a win off of you. Wake Forest, Florida State.
This has the potential for.
This is going to be a good Saturday for football.
So a couple other college football notes before we move on.
Of course.
Did you see out in, and I wouldn't blame you if you didn't, but did you see out in the WAC, the Stephen F. Austin Lumberjacks played NAIA Warner and won 98-0.
Wow.
98.
98, huh?
5 points short of the FBS record and a touchdown short of the FCS record.
Wow.
That is that's a long day at the office for. So did you
say NIA Warner?
NIA, yeah, Warner. So this is like almost D3 level of.
Not almost.
Stephen Stephen F. Austin had 4 different quarterbacks throw touchdowns, so they went into the 4th string of quarterbacks. They had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different runners, 12 different receivers, and so it was that was. I don't like, it set a whack record for points, so that's the main reason I'm mentioning. But also, like, when was the last time you saw 98 points? Like the record, I believe, was of 103 was back in the 50s.
Yeah,
like that's how long this record is standing. They came within 5 points of shattering that one. And then the other note, did you see? So first of all, did you know Herm Edwards had gone back to coaching?
Yes.
Okay, and you knew he went to Arizona State?
Of course.
Did you see how he got fired over the weekend?
I did see how he got fired, but I don't know all the specifics.
He, after the loss, the athletic director basically met him at the tunnel.
What?
And did not allow him to go back to the locker room. He was like, "No, you're done." On the field, before you go into the tunnel, the AD is like, "Nah, you're done." And I'm like, man, that is
a level of disrespect.
That is a classless move, Arizona State. At least let him go back and talk to the team. Like, say, hey, you're done. Like, I get it if you want to say, hey, you're done. But at least, say, let him go back, talk to the team, and say, whatever you need to say. But to not
meet him in the tunnel.
Meet him in the tunnel, not let him go back to the locker room and just say, like, no, we're done here. That is.
And he did. How did Herm not cuss him out?
Oh, I'm sure he did.
I'm sure he probably did.
Maybe not on the field because
we both know Herm Edwards.
Herm seems like he has a level of class where he's like, I won't do this on the field, but like when we get back to my office, I'm gonna let you have it.
Probably. Oh my God, I can't wait to tell my dad this, because here's the thing, this is gonna kill you. But my dad has always told these jokes where it's like, man, that player played so poorly, I'd cut him during halftime, or like I'd cut him and it's like, well, wasn't a player, but someone did get cut after the game. Good God.
And it's
the way, like you said, it's the way it was done, which I totally just have a problem with.
And there's more details coming out too, which, if that wasn't bad enough, there's more details coming out, like the fact that the athletic department staff at Arizona State leaked information with the hopes and intentions of getting Edwards' termination. So these people are leaking intel about this team. Allegedly. This is allegedly, but it is all of that is just makes me go, you know what? I would be just fine if Arizona State loses every single game for the rest 100%, of the season.
Yeah.
I would be just fine with that. And they're playing USC this weekend.
Good.
So I'm really, really hoping that Lincoln Riley just takes it to them.
They'll get a nice beating.
Yes.
Which they deserve.
Well, there you go. There's your college football roundup. I like college football.
I love college football,
It's great to have football back.
Man, I hate that I don't get to watch it going home, because in December it's already over pretty much.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. You get bowl games, kind of, sort of, maybe.
Yeah, it's true.
Not great bowl games, but they're bowl games.
I'll take what I can get.
We'll take a break, and when we come back, it's NFL time, and Cowboys football is tonight, the rare Monday night game, so we'll preview it, and Mason's got some stuff to say.
Oh, yes, I do.
Don't go nowhere.
Nowhere.
Welcome back to the main event.
That had to be the quickest break we've ever taken.
That was a great break. I feel refreshed and relaxed and ready to go.
A full 5 seconds.
That's all I needed. I was just so excited to get back into hearing what Mason Shepherd has to say.
Pretty much, yeah.
Another week in the NFL. And I mentioned this to somebody else, but so far, these first 3 weeks of the NFL season have got my brain in a knot. Like,
yeah,
just the way that games have gone.
That's the way I like it, man.
Yeah, I mean, I hate when it's like, okay, this team is clearly better than ever. And you have like the Warriors where it's like, okay, well, I guess Golden State Warriors are going to the finals again.
We don't know, like, at this point, and we're not supposed to, but we have no idea. And I am so excited about the fact that I have no idea.
What was your wackiest game this weekend?
Wackiest game for me would probably be, I mean, it wasn't really wacky. I will say that I was not surprised, but I was kind of excited to see the Dolphins beat the Bills, and the Dolphins are undefeated.
I can't believe the Dolphins punter punted a football into one of the blockers' butts, and it bounced back for a safety, and they still won that game.
Yeah, I would say that also, like, the Chiefs got beat by the Colts. Was not expecting that either.
I don't know what to make of the Colts or the Chiefs.
Me neither.
I don't know what to make of the freaking Jaguars or the Chargers.
I don't know either.
Justin Herbert was like, pain dealing with ribs, but they got thrashed by the Jaguars.
Jaguars have been thrashing people as of late.
The Packers only put up 14 points, but the Bucs only put up 12 points. So
according to Aaron Rodgers, you see things you didn't know you were going to see.
The Broncos only put up 11 points, but beat the 49ers.
Yeah.
This is just a weird...
It was a weird week.
3 weeks. Because then you look at the standings, the Miami Dolphins are 3-0 on top of the AFC East over the Bills. 3-0. The Cleveland Browns are 2-1 atop the AFC North with Jacoby Brissett.
Yep.
The Jaguars are on top of the AFC South at 2-1.
Basically all the teams that were losers for years.
The Vikings are technically ahead of the Packers, but the Bears are also 2-1. There's 3 2-1
Yeah, the Bears
teams.
are actually playing pretty well as of right now.
And then the 49ers, the Seahawks, and Cardinals, along with the Rams. Like that NFC West was like the best conference last year, right? That was one of the...
NFC West has been the best for the last few years.
But for sure, like everyone was looking at last year when Matt Stafford went there.
Yeah, you just gotta have to look at the teams that have been most consistent and going. Look at it. It was the 49ers when they played Baltimore. Then it was Seattle for 2 years, and then now we got the Rams. So I would say it's been one of the best conferences. Yeah.
But now it's kind of weird because the Cardinals don't look great. Kyler Murray doesn't look. I mean, he looks like he's running around like a chicken with his head cut off. The Seahawks, I kind of expected them to fall off.
When you have Geno Smith as quarterback.
The 49ers, I can't get a read on because now you have Jimmy G back in, and I can't tell if that's a good thing or a bad thing. The Rams seem to have calmed down a little bit after their opening week crushing, but still, that division just looks whack. And, it's good because that means every week is exciting, right?
Very much so.
I don't remember the last time I've looked at a week of games coming up and been like, dude, I just don't know what to expect.
Yeah, because besides Dallas, which we'll get to in a minute, the Vikings play the Saints, which is Seahawks, Lions, and Jets, Steelers. I'm interested in seeing that one just to see if Joe Flacco can do anything. Bears, Giants, 2 teams kind of on the rise a little bit. Titans, Colts. I'm interested to see the Colts there.
Yeah, because that's the Titans are 1-2.
Yeah.
After consistently going to the AFC Championship game for the past couple of years.
Jaguars and Eagles. The Eagles have a good record right now. The Jaguars have a good record. Yes. That's going to be something. Bills and Ravens. Chiefs and Bucks. Yeah, this week it's looking pretty good.
And I don't really know how to call a lot of these games.
Me either, because we can't look and go, then they're playing this team, they'll lose. No. Yeah.
Even Jets Steelers, I'm like the Jets.
That's what I'm saying.
The Jets could beat the Steelers.
The Jets could beat the Steelers.
Steelers have no TJ Watt.
Because the Jets beat the Browns and the Browns beat the Steelers. Yes. So by logic, the Jets could beat the Steelers. So oh my God,
it's great to be a NFL watcher.
It's great to be a football fan. I don't know how some people go without it, but.
All right, so let's get to tonight real quick. Actually, before we get into tonight, let's talk about the other NFL news that popped out today because we're doing general NFL.
Of course.
The NFL has decided to replace the Pro Bowl, which, thank God. Because
we were all
especially
getting
after last year when it was basically two-hand touch Pro Bowl game.
Yeah.
We're all like, man, the product is not good. People don't want to tackle. No. People just want to go to Hawaii and have a good time, which I'm all for, but don't put a crappy product out on the field.
Yeah, because then, because when you were growing up, when I was growing up, it meant something, especially the trip to Hawaii and all that other stuff. Now it doesn't matter. Look, I'm sorry, but when you let Nickelodeon, at this day and age with the content they're putting out, when you let Nickelodeon get involved in stuff that you're doing, it's good that they got rid of it. I know some traditionalists are not going to like that, but it doesn't matter. It wasn't really pulling in people in viewership, and it was really bad and really boring to watch. The question is, what skills? Because there's going to be a skills challenge, and there's also going to be flag football, which our friend Jennifer, who we miss very much, called for that.
Yeah.
So I don't know what they're going to do for skills. I hope it's not something boring.
Yeah, so it's a week-long skills competition and a flag football game, and I think the flag football game could be pretty interesting. I assume it'll be more like a 7-on-7 type deal, and you won't really have all the linemen, which
No.
honestly, though, that frees up the linemen to do some funny skills competition.
Exactly.
Like have the linemen do like the like an obstacle course or something like that. Or you know how they do the overall skills competition in basketball where you have to dribble, shoot, and I would love to see a lineman do something like that where they catch and like swim move through.
No, totally. I think what I would avoid if I was the NFL, I wouldn't want this to be campy. Like I know this is going to be like for entertainment purposes, but don't make it campy.
No, but they've had some good ones. Like they had ones where the quarterbacks were throwing at targets and they had a defensive back in front of the targets. And I'm like, okay, that's a cool one. You got, quarterback versus defensive back. How does the defensive back read them? Can the quarterback
I'd love
look
that.
them off? That's a good one. Another good one that I think would just be fun. Hockey does the hardest slap shot.
Yeah.
I want to see the quarterback that can rip it the fastest. I want to see which one can hit like 40, 50 miles an hour out of the hand.
That would be pretty
on
dope.
The football. So yeah, there's the only way that they can screw this up now is to have bad skill competitions, right?
Yeah.
And or to have like so many that it's just not like that nobody cares,
Yeah.
right? Because you're saying it's a week long. And I would assume the flag football game is going to be either on
Sunday,
Saturday, or Sunday.
It's probably Sunday.
So that means you have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday to fill up skills competitions with.
That's what I'm saying,
That's
man.
a lot.
That's a lot.
You could have a lot of, but you know what? I'd rather them try. This is the first year.
Yeah.
Try everything. Do wacky stuff like the NFL or the NHL. One of the years they had players up on like the third deck of the arena.
I remember that.
Shooting at targets on the ice. Do something crazy like that. See what?
Yeah, I don't mind that. Do something crazy. Have a good time.
And then look at all the feedback on Twitter, social media, whatever. Find what was really cool and what people liked. Find what didn't work.
Just basically, like you said, basically try everything. Do anything that you can. But don't, you know what? I would love to see if it was like, Madden. Like, I know we can't do like the gauntlet challenge because that requires people to be in pads and people getting hit. And they can't do Oklahoma drills and stuff like that just because, again, people, would get hit and like they don't want to do that. But like, take some things from Madden, like the stuff they have in their skill challenges, like put kickers, line them up 60 yards or 70, do stuff like that, because undoubtedly someone's going to make at least one. Don't let Justin Tucker participate because he'll ruin everybody's day. But, things like that. Just take inspiration from different things and just have fun, man.
There's no wrong way to do this in this first year, as long as you put like, I don't want each day to have 2 competitions.
No.
Get a bunch. If you're going to do a week long, get a bunch. And then next year, just cut it down to like Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So Friday, Saturday, you have a bunch of skill competition stuff.
Yeah.
And then Sunday, you have the game. But otherwise, I don't think there's a way that you can go wrong with it.
Yeah, no, I'm excited to see what they do.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be better no matter what. It can't be any worse than the travesty of the game that was the Pro Bowl last year.
Oh, my God.
All right, so now let's get to the Monday Night Football game. Cowboys-Giants at MetLife. Michael Gallup is not returning.
Yeah.
So already that makes me go, that's not going to be pretty. But, Noah Brown played well.
He's getting more into it, man.
He's getting into it. Cooper Rush likes him. I'm just looking at this going, this seems a game to me of what offense is going to make the breakthroughs first. Because
100%, yeah.
Our defense looks really good, but Saquon Barkley's been looking pretty solid too. Daniel Jones has actually been looking pretty solid. So it seems like, is our offense going to make too many mistakes or be too conservative if we do get a lead like we did last week against the Bengals?
I can already tell you, we're going to play conservative football.
Or are the Giants going to be able to figure out, or maybe the Giants defense figures this out? I think the good news is I think Kayvon Thibodeau is listed as questionable, so may or may not go. Still listed as questionable, so that might help. They do have Aaron Robinson, a cornerback, who is out. So there's opportunities for this Cowboys offense, but like I said, it's just last week's game did not make me feel any better about this team.
No.
So I'm not looking at this and like in past years, this was like, okay, this is a team that you should beat, but you need to beat for the division. Now I'm like, okay, I don't even know if you can beat this team just looking at this on paper. But is it bad to say that I almost feel better? I almost feel more confident with Cooper Rush in there right now than Dak.
See, Jerry, this is why I can't stand you.
Here's your segue.
I'm going
How do you
in.
Like
I'm
segue?
tired of it.
Take it
Listen,
away.
Jerry. All right, you need to stay away from a microphone. Stay out of the lens of a camera, because I'm sick of you. All right, because what you just said right there triggered me, because Jerry Jones over, I think, the last week was like, yeah, I wouldn't mind a little quarterback controversy. What? Are you kidding me? Like, listen, man. Because then Mike McCarthy had to come behind him and be like, Dak's our guy. We appreciate what Cooper's doing, but we have our number one. Listen, Jerry, you hypocrite. You just want to be in the media all the time. You just want your name out there. This is the same guy. When this quarterback controversy was legit, when Dak was playing great his rookie year and was taking over for slow-mo, Jerry was like, there's no quarterback controversy here. I really don't want to talk about that. I'd rather not get into that. But now he's, yeah, I wouldn't mind one, because he wants to talk to people. This isn't about the team. This isn't about what could be best for Dallas. Jerry wants a quarterback controversy so more cameras can be in his face. And it makes me sick. We are on the cusp, not of greatness, because we haven't hit that since like the 90s, but we are on the cusp of trying to figure out where we are. And this old goat, this fool, is literally just doing whatever he can to maintain his status of, hey, don't forget me. I'm the guy who's important. It's not my coach. It's not my players. It's me. It's Jerry, the guy who took like a whole episode of Hard Knocks just so you can follow me around in my stupid helicopter. I am so sick of this old man doing what he thinks is best for himself and not the team. That's why our coaches suck, because we get a puppet every year. We do not get a Jimmy Johnson because he was the coach who told Jerry, no, this is my team. We're going to run the plays the way I think we should run them. We're not going to do just what you want to do. And he fired him after 2 Super Bowls. Then we got in with, obviously there were more before these guys, but then we got Wade Phillips, Camp Cupcake. Then we got the clapper, Jason Garrett. And now we have Mike McCarthy, who's best known for just holding the sheet up to his mouth. We do not have legit leadership because the owner, and I'm going to keep saying this, the owner is so obsessed with himself that if Jerry Jones stood in front of a mirror, he could die there and no one would be able to tell the difference. It's just because he is so obsessed with making sure that he gets in the headlines because he wants people to talk about him, not the team. Because if he cared about Dallas, he would not say, I wouldn't mind a quarterback controversy. What? No, that doesn't help anybody. Because now the media is shining down on Cooper Rush, Dak Prescott. Which one would be better? Which one is which? How about you decide that in practice, Jerry? How about you let Dak come back and then you make decisions? How about you realize that you have a starter, all right? You have one. The fans may not like him, but you got one already. So how about you just deal with it? Because you had no problem when this was Romo and you didn't want a quarterback controversy then. And we were actually doing better then. But because for some reason, and I don't know why, because Jerry didn't want Dak in the first place and because they see a lot of Tony Romo-like tendencies, that's a quote, in Cooper Rush. Now, quarterback controversy is good. That's not divisive of the team. It's not like that Dak Prescott hasn't gotten into a little bit of arguments with our receiving corps, especially the star who I let go. It's not like, Noah Brown, who, doesn't really get to touch the field when Dak's on the field, now is the number one guy because CeeDee Lamb can't handle it, just like he can't handle the football when it's thrown to him. It's not like that. It makes me sick because we have to get on the same page. And I'm upset because I don't feel like we're going to be on the same page now. It's one thing when the redhead gets to go in and win us a game or two. It's another thing when this guy who hasn't totally proven himself gets quarterback Dak had proven himself 6 games. 6! He had won 6 games, maybe not in a row, but he had won a good amount of games after Romo. And Jerry didn't want any quarterback controversy. Romo will be back soon. There's a quote that he said, this guy has played in 2 professional games. 2, not including the preseason. He's won both of them, which is good for us. And all of a sudden, quarterback controversy is something that you want in your program? Come on, Jerry. Seriously? When is it going to end, Ryan? I'm going to tell you, never. Because that old man can leave tomorrow, and he will still just be all over the place with everything that he says. I wish, seriously, that Jerry Jones could maintain that same level of commitment to running his mouth that he could to keeping his mouth shut. Because this is the second time this year it's happened. Because he did it to Mike McCarthy, to the point where Dan Quinn was like, look, I heard what Jerry said, that he wants me as the head coach. I will literally leave and go somewhere else. And then he had to backtrack as the season started. Yeah, Mike McCarthy's our guy. So we're just going to ignore the fact that you said you wouldn't mind that Dan Quinn being the head coach is actually what you wanted? We're not going to deny that, are we, Jerry? No, we're not. He has no shame in his game, which he should. And he will continue for as long as the day is long, for his mentality of I'm going to say what I want because I'm the president, general manager, and owner of this team. His money is as long as his ego and his belief in himself. And I'm sick of it. I am sick of Jerry Jones. I'm sick of what he's done to this team. You want to know why Dallas struggles? Because leadership starts at the top. We have no leadership at the top, Ryan Baldwin. We have none. We have a guy who sits up on a throne, which probably has a bidet because he's rich. We have a guy who sits up there, and he does nothing but this all the time. And he throws out some money to get, stadiums remodeled and, come bring your people here and we'll charge you like $4,000 per seat for a soccer game or whatever. But this guy has no intent on doing what's best for Dallas. That's why he pays people so much money who shouldn't be getting as much money as they're getting. That's why our cap space always sucks. That's why we don't go out in free agency when we need to. That's why we almost had to suffer Johnny Football being a part of our program. If it wasn't for his son, Steven, if it was not for Steven, Johnny Manziel would have been playing cowboy football and Zach Martin would have been a Pro Bowler for somebody else. That is the problem here. You know who he wanted over Dak Prescott? Paxton Lynch. That guy's not even in the league anymore. And he wanted him on the Cowboys because of how he looked, because of his physical attributes. Let's ignore the fact, right, that this guy played at Memphis. Dak played at Mississippi State and beat Bama and LSU. But we're going to ignore that because we want 6'6", 230 pounds. You got to be kidding me. Jerry Jones is a problem. And I don't know when people are going to actually just have the intestinal fortitude to admit that. Because when you say things like, that would be like, if we had this problem here, that would be like you and I being like, you know what, man, I wouldn't mind if there was a little controversy in going on in Sports Zone. I wouldn't mind if someone took over the leadership role of that show in the sense of like who creates rundowns and stuff like that. It causes internal turmoil because now you have planted in some people's minds, like Noah Brown, for example, could be like, yeah, I kind of want Cooper Rush to stay the starter. That means I could get balls thrown to me. That causes internal struggle. But Jerry Jones wouldn't care about that because let's face it, he talks to the locker room after the game, not Mike McCarthy. We saw it in Hard Knocks. He does this. He has become Jason Garrett. You fumble, he does this. You don't convert a fourth down, he does this. You throw an interception, he does this. He has become the new Jason Garrett, except this Jason Garrett looks like Santa Claus if he shaved his beard and ate too many cookies. My God. The reality of the situation is, I don't like where this old man is trying to take this team. He's trying to turn it into a reality television show with this nonsense. Zeke Elliott hurt. We don't know what his status is. Yeah, I think Zeke is going to get about, a good amount of yards in this next game. What do you mean, Jerry? Why are you putting that out there? Teams are now going to be able to prepare for Zeke. You remember when I told you that one of the biggest reasons that Cooper Rush beat the Vikings that last season was because of the element of surprise, because they didn't know who they were going to deal with, Dak or Cooper? Do you remember when I said that they should do that against the Broncos? Because if they announce that Dak's coming back, they're going to prepare for Dak. What did Jerry Jones do? Blurted out that Dak was going to be healthy and back, and the Broncos prepared. And that was the game we got our butts kicked by the Broncos. Because apart from execution, Jerry couldn't help himself. That radio show of his that he should not have, because, dude, you are already the member. You are already the owner. You're already the general manager. You're already the president. What do you want to be the quarterback to, Jerry? You have to have a radio show where you can air out your opinions that you know people are going to pay attention to. Last thing on the old fool. I cannot wait for the day that Jerry Jones decides to leave. I don't care if he melts and disintegrates in his owner's chair, and that's how he's no longer the owner, general manager, and president. I don't care. I'm just ready for us to be under a new administration. And who knows? Maybe Steven will be like him. Maybe he won't. But I'm sorry, because I know Steven has his flaws too. But at least he did not want Johnny Football. At least he was one of the reasons why we have Dak Prescott, which, again, some people may not like him for. But at the end of the day, anything would be better than Jerry Jones.
Boom. Just take out that mic and drop it.
I don't feel like paying for it if it breaks.
Wow, it's rare I get to see you that animated about it. Not that I disagree with any of your points made. Here's my conspiracy theory to add on to the top of your rant there. I think that Jerry is still upset that Dak got the better of him in contract negotiations.
Right?
Oh
yeah,
because
100%.
He basically came out and said, "You got me."
100%.
So that's why I think he wants a quarterback controversy, because then he can go and say, "Look, you know what? I was right all along. He didn't deserve that money. Cooper Rush is a better quarterback." Never mind that you've already paid him the money. But for Jerry's ego, it would be better for him if there was a quarterback controversy, so he could be like, "Look, I told y'all that we didn't need to pay Dak Prescott all that money."
Yes, because unless Jerry likes you, by the way, it was a great Jerry Jones impression, might I add.
That one.
You're going to pay.
Tickled the throat a little bit.
You're going to pay for that one, but it was still good. Yes, because we all know unless Jerry Jones invites you and your wife over for dinner and claims you as his other son, how you doing, Tony Romo? Then yeah, he's not really big on paying you, and he's just like, here's the thing. Dak Prescott to me earned that money. I know to a lot of other people he hasn't, and that's fair. But what I will say is this. Just because Jerry's ego is hurt because this man got the money that, in my opinion, he deserved, but in some others he didn't, just because that man got that money from him, he wants to heal his wounded ego by damaging the internal relationship of the team, by splitting them down the middle or having the media on their back, because now the media will go up to the receivers and be like, "Who would you like to be the quarterback of the team? Hey, Zeke, do you like playing with Dak? Or do you think Cooper brings a new flavor to the team? Hey, offensive line, is it easier for you to just protect Dak? Or is it easier for you to just get behind Cooper Rush? Is he a better leader? Or, hey, Cowboys locker room, who's the best leader of the locker room, Dak or Cooper?" That's what Jerry Jones is seeking onto his team right now, because he could not care less what happens.
Yep. I am concerned more and more about the direction of the Cowboys during and after this season, especially if, especially if Cooper Rush does well. Because let's be real, he could win the 4 games. He could go 4-0 while Dak is out, and Dak will still be the starter.
Yes.
When he comes back. The real question is, what does Dak do? What happens if Dak goes 0-2 after Cooper Rush went 4-0?
It's called football. And things like that happen.
I know, but then now you have maybe a divided locker room, and you have McCarthy going with Rush, and then that's when Jerry's going to open his mouth again.
Look, at the end of the day, I call this the Nick Foles complex. Nick Foles came in in a system that suits him, won a Super Bowl, which we all knew he could do after the last season. He was the leader of Philly's team. Okay? If Cooper Rush does well, good for Cooper. But you're a backup. Because here's the thing. I don't know why we've moved into this era of football where the backup quarterback is supposed to suck. Maybe it's good to have a good backup quarterback. I understand it would be like, well, maybe we should go with this guy. No. This is what I don't like about football fans, because they think they know everything and they go, they're morons. Listen, just because a guy is good for one season does not make him a starter. We've seen that time and time again. Now, and you could say that for Dak. I'm not even denying that. You could say that for him because he had a great rookie year, and then to some people, what happened?
I'm glad you mentioned that because I was going to bring that up.
Yeah, no, I saw that look in your face.
I was like, well, you want to talk about what? We got two players in the backfield that made their money off of one good season.
So, yeah, no, I saw that. I saw that look in your face, and I have to acknowledge that. You could say that about Dak easily. You could also say that about Matthew Stafford. Anyway, the point being is, just because a guy has one good year does not make him a starter. It makes the fans want him to be the starter. But again, those are the fans who haven't studied football and go, oh, yeah, yeah, this guy. No, stop talking and stay off of Twitter with your stupid opinions. The way this works is, and yeah, there's a little bit of favoritism on my end, because Dak replaced, in my opinion, one of the worst quarterbacks in Cowboy history. But the way it works for me is just like Dak is trying to get better, let Cooper Rush be a backup. Because guess what? You know why it's good to not start that? Because guess what? If Dak goes down again, which he might, he's starting to show a little bit of history with injuries here. If he goes down, you know you have a solid solution. That's what you do. You don't put the guy as starter. Because guess what? If he goes down, then we're stuck with Dak again in some people's minds, and then they're really unhappy.
No, then you got Will Greer. Don't forget about Will Greer now.
Yeah, the guy from West Virginia.
Anyway, but seriously though, like if Cooper Rush goes 4-0 and Dak goes 0-3, how do you justify sticking with Jack? Or with Dak?
Sticking with Jack. After Jerry Jones, I need a drink. Anyway, so it's look. I'm not saying that you don't give Cooper a chance to see where the rest of the season goes. Okay, I understand that. Don't forget, you're paying someone $40 million to sit on the bench at that point, and that's on you. If I win with him a Super Bowl with him sitting on the bench, then fine. But I'm not saying. But can you do that every year?
No, but it doesn't. But if Cooper is getting the more consistent results as a starter than Dak, that's basically you have screwed yourself.
Yeah,
I mean, you screwed yourself by giving him money. Now he has to sit on the bench, and nobody is going to take that contract unless somebody is really desperate.
Seattle. Look, here's the thing. Yeah, you know what? You're right about that. But guess what? What happens the next season? Cooper doesn't pan out. Or what happens the season after that? Okay, that was just one season he didn't pan out. What happens the next season after that? Doesn't pan out. What happens the season he gets hurt? And you just have Will Greer. There's pros and cons to both sides here. I understand that if the guy is going out there and producing better, you got to let him go, right? You got to and when I mean go on the field and do his thing. I got no problem with that. But if we're going to take this off of pure assumption that, again, perfect example, Nick Foles. What happened with Nick Foles? He won a Super Bowl. I'm going to head to Jacksonville. Didn't work out. What happened after the first season with Philly that he was the starter because Vic was out? Oh, man, Nick Foles is great. Guess what happened? He went to Chicago. Didn't work out. So guess what? If we put ourselves in that pigeonhole where we've got a Nick Foles, when he's with our team, he's great, and when he's maybe a starter on our team, or maybe when he goes somewhere else, he's not, that's on us. And I think we need to stay calm here and focus. There's a difference between Dak coming in Romo's, 12th or whatever, double-digit season, and being a better choice versus this guy who learned everything he did from Dak and learned how to just learn, absorb in, take, and observe and produce from the guy who's starting ahead of him. Because I don't want a Jimmy G situation, right? I'm not comparing Dak to Brady, but what I'm saying is that with Dak Prescott, this is someone who is your starter. Because remember, we lost Dak for a considerable amount of time, and we were losers for a long period of time before he got back. And we still were, I'll admit. We didn't really improve that much when he got back. But we at least started to win games a little bit more frequently. What I'm basically saying here is I don't want people to start, and they're already doing it, but I don't want people to start thinking that, well, see, Cooper's the answer we needed all along. Okay, what happens when he fails and Dak is somewhere else? Because that's what happens. Mm-hmm. I bet you fans in New England are, well, they're not kicking themselves, but they kind of should be. Jimmy G's been to a Super Bowl. May have lost, but he went. Even though the 49ers defense was really good, but he went. Where have the Patriots been since Brady left?
Well, it's their second year since Brady left? No, third. They had Newton for a year, and now the second year in Mac Jones.
Yeah.
So.
How's that working out?
Not great.
Exactly. That's my point.
All right. Well, we've ranted enough, so let's get the prediction for the game tonight. What do you think?
That Giants defense worries me because that is a part of their team that they have improved upon for years. I can see is the game being played in MetLife?
Yep.
Oh boy. I can see wow, see a race car driver fight. I can see. Okay, this is what Dallas needs to do. If Dallas wants to win this game, they got to prove that to this Giants defense that they can run on them. Because if you can run on a defense, that's demoralizing, and then that opens up the offense for Cooper Rush, who my podcast partner lightly favors. It's very weird.
Lightly favors?
You kind of favor Cooper Rush, like in the face. That or Carson Wentz, one of them, but more so Cooper. Anyway, so.
Oh, you mean I look like him?
Yeah,
okay. Like. I was like, I don't think I've ever been on the Cooper Rush side of things.
No. But
okay.
I think that I think when you look at the grand scheme of what can be accomplished here for this team in this game, if we can run the football effectively, if we can move the chains, if we can get the defense off balance, if we can come up with some, I can't believe I'm about to say this. Oh, wait, but it needs to be said, creative play calls. If we can do something different, we can prove that we can beat the Giants at MetLife because we opened up our offense. No running on first down. If I see running on first down, which I know I'm going to see, I will flip my computer and just break it because I don't want that conservative ball play. Play the field. Throw deep bombs. Spread the defense out. That's why Dallas gets beat. They don't spread anybody out. Everybody stays on the line. All the linebackers stay up. All the corners stay locked in on man. They don't bring people, oh, let me be off the receiver a little bit. Oh, let my linebackers be confused because we've run the ball so much that if I do play action, they're not going to know where the ball is. Let's get the defensive line to jump a little bit. Let's get them off their toes. They always go, okay, we're going to run it on first down. We're going to run it on second down. It's going to be 3rd and 6. Then we're going to throw. Okay, we're going to throw on first down. We're going to miss it. Then we're going to run it on second down when it's 2nd and 10. Then it's 3rd, so we have to throw. Wait, we're going to run up the middle. And we're not going to pick anything up. Then we're going to go for it on 4th, and we may or may not get it. No, spread them out. If they spread this defense out with their running attack to where it opens the floor for Cooper, because this is what they're going to do. They're going to shut Zeke down or Pollard, or them both, honestly, and make Cooper Rush prove that he can beat me with his arm. Because, again, that's what happens when you have quarterback controversies also. You make the defense go, okay, we're shutting this run down, because if this guy is supposed to be their guy, I want him to beat us. If Dallas can spread that defense out, they've got a chance. If they play conservative football, they're getting beat.
I think the Dallas defense is going to do just enough to get by, or, just enough to get this offense by. Defense will be good. Offense will be meh, but it'll be enough. And I've got the Cowboys winning 24-21 over the Giants. It's going to be close.
17-13.
For the Cowboys? Well, we both got a Cowboys win, but again, it's not going to be one of those wins where I feel great about it.
Ryan, you're not going to feel great about it until either they beat someone who's okay. So if Dallas was to beat the Dolphins like week 10,
don't matter in week 10.
Okay, week 15.
Don't matter in week 15.
Well, I can't say in the playoffs, Ryan. That's the Super Bowl. So, I mean, because there's different conferences.
If you can beat the Packers in the wild card, then fine. Maybe we got something. But it doesn't. Week 10 doesn't matter. Week 15 doesn't matter.
See, that's what I'm saying. You're not going to be happy with it regardless.
Exactly. Because I'm a jaded Cowboys fan, and this is what they've done to me. I blame it on them. All right, we'll take another break. Mason got his rant out. He's feeling better.
Yeah.
And speaking of rants, we're going to take a look at some of the top coaching rants of all time.
Oh, my God.
Because there have been some good ones, and last week was the anniversary of a very special one. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the main event.
Yo.
Ryan Baldwin still here with the one, the only, the finest of the fine. Mason Shepherd.
The finest of the fine. I'm coining that now.
There you go. Added that one on there.
Boom.
Boom. All right. So last week, my dad tagged me in a Facebook post. That's how we're starting this one. People still use Facebook. Last week was the 15th anniversary of one of the most famous coaching rants in college football. And it was Mike Gundy's rant against a journalist that had written some stuff about one of his players. And he was not thrilled.
I love this.
If you haven't seen it, go watch the full thing. It's 3 minutes and 16 seconds, so we're not going to watch the full thing, but we are going to watch what's probably the most quoted part of the video here.
If you want to go after an athlete, one of my athletes, you go after one that doesn't do the right things. You don't downgrade him because he does everything right and may not play as well on Saturday, and you let us make that decision. That's why I don't read the newspaper, because it's garbage. And the editor that let it come out is garbage. Attacking an amateur athlete for doing everything right. And then you want to write articles about guys that don't do things right and downgrade them, the ones that do make plays. Are you kidding me? Where are we at in society today? Come after me. I'm a man. I'm 40. I'm not a kid. Write something about me or our coaches. Don't write about a kid that does everything right, that's heart's broken, and then say that the coaches said he was scared. That ain't true. And then to say that we made that decision because Donovan Woods, because he threatened to transfer, that's not true.
Okay, so that's the general gist of that one.
I never get tired of that.
I'm a man.
I'm 40. That's not true.
So, yes, after watching that one and the 15-year anniversary, I was like, okay, so what are some of the great coaching rants of our times? And there's been quite a few that I enjoy. And for whatever reason, I feel like a lot of the ones, and maybe it's just because football is like the most popular sport, and the coaches get more attention, and the press conferences get more attention. But I find a lot more football coaches get rants and clips and stuff than any other coach or any other sport.
Yeah.
So we're going to take a look at some of the good ones.
Amen.
Dennis Green, former Arizona Cardinals head coach.
One of my all-time favorites in terms of coaching rants.
He had some thoughts after a loss to the Chicago Bears a ways back.
4 picks against Grossman and 2 fumbles. What did you see about the Bears? Would shut them down that way?
No, we just the Bears are what we thought they were. They're what we thought they were. We played them in preseason. Who the hell takes a third game in the preseason like it's bull? We played them in the third game. Everybody played 3 quarters. The Bears are who we thought they were. And that's why we took the damn field. Now, if you want to crown them, then crown their ass. But they are who we thought they were. And we let them off the hook.
Thanks, Coach.
Okay, so the thanks coach at the end is what always gets me. He's slapping the microphone, yelling his head off. And the reporter just, thanks, coach.
Hey, what do you say after that? Do you go, okay, so this guy over here, next question? No, thanks, coach. Again, that's so funny. Thanks, coach.
Oh, man. So the Dennis Green one is fantastic.
100%.
One of my personal favorites, Jim Mora. I believe he was the Colts coach back at this point. And they lost to the 49ers, and he decided to give his thoughts on his team's chance of making the postseason.
Well, I'll start off by saying this. Do not blame that game on the defense, okay? I don't care who you play, whether it's a high school team, a junior college team, a college team, much less an NFL team. When you turn the ball over 5 times, 4 interceptions, 1 for a touchdown, 3 others in field position to set up touchdowns, you ain't going to beat anybody I just talked about. Anybody. All right? And that was a disgraceful performance, in my opinion. We threw that game. We gave it away by doing that. We gave them the friggin' game. In my opinion, that sucked. You know, you can't turn the ball over 5 times like that. Holy crap. I don't know who the hell we think we are when we do something like that. Unbelievable. 5 turnovers. One of them, we've thrown 4 interceptions for touchdowns this year. That might be an NFL record. That's pitiful. I mean, it's absolutely pitiful to perform like that. Pitiful. What's that? Playoffs? Don't talk about it. Playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game.
We can win a game.
So that one has been so popular amongst the Baldwin family household that we use that constantly.
Oh my God.
Whenever it comes to playoffs time. And, you know, it's always topical because you look at this Cowboys team, you're like, playoffs?
Playoffs?
Don't talk to me about playoffs. I just hope we can win a game.
I think you've used that before, just not in that tone of voice.
Yeah. It's
Playoffs.
So Jim Mora, so those are kind of like the big 3, I think, when it comes to like NFL rants.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if there's.
I think college rants are more entertaining, to be perfectly honest.
Well, here's the other thing. You just like all of these are old school, right? You don't see a whole lot of the coaches anymore that just pop off anymore.
Yeah, well, that we just don't live in that time anymore.
Yeah.
I think we live in more of like a PC culture time where if a coach told a reporter, you know, screw you for writing this about a guy, that's just more about the coach than the reporter. When back then it would have said more reporter than the coach. So I think we've also just moved into a time where, okay, like, and I said this off air, and it's just present to the question you brought up. If this is what you do at a press conference, I wonder what you're telling the guys. If you're an NFL coach, I wonder what you're telling them.
Yeah, and I feel like
that would cause a lot of problems.
I feel like the art of the old school say whatever they feel like motivational coach has gone out the window because I feel honestly I think a lot, especially I just think players just won't respond to that anymore. Like at one point that was an effective tactic of like, you know, wake up, get your head out of your butt and let's go play.
Yeah, get the let out and go play. I think because I think we've seen that go away when and I'm not saying that he was trying to do this, he actually took it too far, but like Urban Meyer, when he kicked that Jaguars kicker,
yes.
It's like that's kind of old school, but at the same time it's like, dude, you don't kick another grown man.
No.
And it's like players just wouldn't go for that. We saw that. As a matter of fact, you bring this up. We saw that with the Jets on the sidelines.
Yep.
He got in his coach's face. When can you say, unless your name's Latrell Sprewell, that you've gotten in your coach's face ready to just beat him to a pulp?
No.
You know, that doesn't happen anymore. It happened recently, but it's stuff that, you know, people don't want to deal with anymore. And I think it's because, you know, on that Jet sideline, that guy who got up screaming, he had passion for the game. When you have passion, you get upset. You worry. We saw that with the Commanders players a couple years ago, fighting Jonathan Allen. And I think it was like Cameron Payne or someone fighting each other because they're just so passionate about it when they mess up, and having someone tell them that gets them a little amped up.
I'm just saying I'd rather have any one of these 3 coaches over Mike McCarthy. I'd rather have a coach that's fiery and shows that, like, you know,
100%.
acts like he cares. All right, so now let's move on because I'm trying to find some different ones from different sports, just to kind of spice it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Hal McRae, who was the coach of the Royals for a little bit,
Okay.
baseball, he got a little upset.
Okay.
With, which is, you'll notice is the theme here. He got a little upset with one of the questions that a reporter asked him.
Okay.
I didn't want to get myself into a situation where all I had to go after him was all right, and our lefts were swinging the bats well, so I wanted my left-handed hitters to hit.
Did you consider Brett for Miller with the bases loaded in the seventh?
No, don't ask me all these stupid-ass questions. No. And the... God, all these stupid-ass questions every night. Find the I hit Brett for Miller. Miller started the game. He's playing against left-handed pitchers. Brett is not playing against left-handed pitchers. Find the I bat for Miller. You think I'm a goddamn fool? I'm tired of all these ass questions every night. And stay out here asking all these dumb-ass questions. Stupid. Suckers. Ask me that stupid-ass shit every night.
Okay, so they were doing this one in McRae's, I guess, manager office, and there was microphones off the table. So part of that, go watch the video because he starts slinging microphones out, slinging recording equipment around. That's one of the better baseball ones.
It's like the Bills offensive coordinator.
Yes, the Bills are slamming stuff. But yeah, so I like Coach Hal McRae. I nominate his for baseball. I know there's some baseball hotheads. Ozzie Guillen was one of them, I think. But yeah, again, I mean, this was one of those old school ones. This is an older video, an older coach. You just don't see that nowadays. Okay, so college basketball.
Oh boy,
Bobby Knight is one of the most outspoken guys out there.
Outspoken. He choked a player.
Okay, that counts as outspoken, right? Technically.
Bobby, again, kind of like Urban Meyer, Bobby Knight knew who to do that to. He wasn't going to choke a brother. I tell you that right now.
So he's got plenty of quotes, but here's a little shorter one from one of his rants.
We only got two people that are going to tell you I'm not going to be here. One is our SID and the other is me. Who the hell told you I wasn't going to be here? I'd like to know. Do you have any idea who it was?
Yeah, I do, Coach.
Who?
I'll point them out to you in a while.
They were from Indiana, right?
No, they're not.
No, weren't from Indiana, and you didn't get it from anybody from Indiana, did you?
Could we please?
No, I'll handle this the way I want to handle it now that I'm here. You it up to begin with. Now just sit there or leave. I don't give a what you do. Now, back to the game.
So, my favorite, it's the same thing with the thanks coach where he reams this guy and then goes,
oh my God.
Okay, now back to the game.
What was that football coach? Because I remember there was a football coach who was like, you can stay or leave. I don't really care. I can't remember the name, but I think it was a professional coach. He was like, you stay or leave. I really don't care. Because you're not going to ask me stupid stuff and expect me to answer it. You know what I'm talking about.
And maybe next week we'll go over reporters asking stupid questions of players and their reactions, because I think that's a good one too. Players have a lot of good reactions, and I think they're a little bit more flexible, especially modern players with how they do it.
Yeah.
But there you go. There's little Bobby Knight for college basketball. So hockey doesn't have, a lot of the coaches are pretty chill for the most part when it comes to interviews.
Yeah.
And then really, I mean, they show most of their displeasure on the bench in the rink. And then once they get to the interviews, it's pretty much done. But John Tortorella is one of the few hockey coaches that makes that has no problem with letting people know how he feels.
This is a hockey coach?
It's a hockey coach.
Oh, boy.
So instead of resetting the clock, we have them tell our captain we're not going to do it. Toronto doesn't step in. Refs don't do their freaking job. And now we lose the game, and we lose our goalie. So the chain of events, if it was done right, we don't lose our goalie, we win the hockey game. So all this technology, right? The technology and getting things right, the stubbornness tonight by the officials and by the league, and Toronto, however it's supposed to work, screws us. It's ridiculous. I'm not taking any God.
I'm not taking any.
I'm not taking any other question. But he said something other than other.
That was the next word he was going to use. I'm not taking any.
John Tortorella has a lot of he's got videos dedicated to him popping off at various reporters when they ask stuff. But hockey coaches are relatively tame, I think, in terms of what they like. And again, maybe it's just how coaches have progressed over the years, and you just don't get that as much anymore.
Yeah.
But Tortorella is my hockey nominee. And then I've got one more here for you from across the pond. This one's not really angry. I just like the wording that this manager from the Leicester City Football Club over in the Premier League uses.
Well, Ian, have you been on holiday for 6 months? Have you? Have you been away for 6 months?
I'm not quite sure what specific purposes you're.
Well, I think you must have been either head in the clouds, away on holiday, or reporting on a different team. Because if you don't know the answer to that question, I think your question is absolutely unbelievable. The fact that you do not understand where I'm coming from. If you don't know the answer to that question, then I think you are an ostrich. Well, your head must be in the sand. Is your head in the sand? Are you flexible enough to get your head in the sand? My suspicion would be no. I can, you can't.
Any more questions? Should we wrap it there?
You can't. Listen, you've been here often enough. For you to ask that question, I think you're either being very, very silly or you're being absolutely stupid.
He's absolutely stupid, man. Oh my God.
Called him an ostrich.
My thing was, he was about to argue with him about, can you put your head in the sand? No.
Yeah, well, because
you can't. I can't.
The reporters, most of these clips, the reporters, first thing is they try and fight back, right? Like, I could stick my head in the sand. That's not the point. This man just called you an ostrich.
I could stick my head. No, you can't. You can't. I can't. Oh my God.
This guy gets the award for most creative wording when it comes to coaching rants.
That's 100. No foul language, but just
very calmly just calls him an ostrich.
Straight murder this guy verbally. I would think that you're probably an ostrich because you've had your head in the sand. Can you put your head in the sand? Yes, I can. No, you can't. You can't. I can't. Don't say that. You're absolutely stupid. You're stupid, man.
It's a solid accent.
Thank you. I'm surprised it keeps it up for this long. Because it usually goes in Australian after that.
Well, there you go. Classic coaching rants.
Yes.
That's a good one to end on. And like I said, maybe next week we'll go into
I want to see some female coaching rants. That's what I want to see.
I'll do some research on that.
I want to see some of those. That sounds like it's pretty fun.
I think I'll do some research, see what I got for next week.
College women's basketball. I want to see the Tennessee Volunteers coach just rip somebody.
Well, thank you very much for listening. This has been the main event.
Boom.
Boom. Ryan Baldwin, Mason Shepherd saying, go watch the Cowboys tonight. Drink a little bit if you have to, just because of how they'll probably play. And we'll see you back next week. Same time, same place. Boom.